Hello everyone. Today we are looking at my raccoon inside of Unreal Engine. And this map is a map of all the raccoon animations. So if we play this map, you can walk around and look at all the different animations for the raccoon. Swiping, snarling, um, dying, jumping, standing, walking, running, all the animations you would need for a game. And if we get out of this and look at the folders, the first one we have is animation, and we'll look at that in a minute. And then we have blueprints, um, and we'll look at that at the end. But the map, we have two different maps. This is the animation map we're looking at right now, and later we'll look at the AI map. We also have material folder, one material for the raccoon, PBR material. And the mesh, we can look at the physics. Let's turn off this and back up a little bit, and I can pick them up. Oh, look at, there's his physics for the raccoon, and of course he has a skeleton. PBR materials, the normal map, roughness and texture or base color, all 2K too. Now we'll jump into the animation here. So this is an attack idle. We have attack left and attack right. It looks a bit slow, but you can speed that up in Unreal. We have a blend shape for it in for the AI system, and he will run to walk to idle, turn. That's the blend space for it. And he has an animation if you want to get him to climb up a tree or something like that. So there's an idle climb, and then a climbing animation, and then he has a dead animation, drinking animation, dying animation, and then an eating animation, idle to lay transitional animation, idle to stand. Then we have an idle animation, idle 2, idle 3, idle 4. And then we have an idle with a blink, jumping animation, jumping with root motion, jumping up on something. So we added root motion. This is actually an update. Lay to idle animation. We have a laying animation. Lay 2, kind of lays to the side. Taking a dump. Running animation. I don't know why I left that in there. Running with root motion. Sitting animation. Sit 2, he kind of licks his hands and everything. Sit to idle, or stand to idle. Standing, stand 2, stand 3, stand 4. And then we have turn left with root motion, turn right, turn right with root motion, a walking animation, walking with root motion, a sniffing animation, sniff walk, and sniffing with root motion. All right, now we can jump into the AI system. So this is a basic AI system that I created just to help me to make sure I have all the animations that a game creator might need, but also to help you if you don't want to sit and code a whole basic AI system. If this is just an animal that's in the background of your game, then you can just use this basic AI system that I have included. And it pretty much utilizes most of the animation that I have in the system. And if you're going to make your own, it can show you how you could use and transition the animation. So they're basically roaming around. If they get really tired, they'll start to sniff around while they walk. And you can actually interact with them. If they get tired, they'll lay down. If they get hungry, they'll start eating just wherever they are. Now you could code that up to have them only eat at the certain spots where the food is. But if they see each other, they'll try and swipe at each other, and then they'll run away. And the same thing with you. If I'm inspecting the scene, I can kind of startle the raccoon and make him run away. So these guys both, I can startle them both, and they'll run away now. And I can also bump them. If you bump them, you can kill them. So that's another way to interact. And if they bump into each other while they're like roaming around and everything, they could potentially kill each other. And of course, you can shut that off in the game or in your version in the code. So let's jump into the blueprints real quickly. We have an animation blueprint, and the animation blueprint basically handles all of the animation and all of their transitions. That's how you see all these arrows going to different animation states. And each one of these animation states, like this one, has a random sequencer because it has multiple animations it could choose between. And this one has 6 different animations that it could choose between for the eating. I think drinking is in there and a couple other ones. But you could separate that out if you wanted to. Same thing with sleeping. There's multiple animations for sleeping. And then you could, if you use this animation blueprint in your own system, then you could use the same thing. If you made your own AI, you could use this animation blueprint and just plug in how all your animations transition and everything. So that's the animation blueprint. We can look at the blueprint, and this has all the logic for the raccoon. At the top we have a deciding string which makes decisions with some logic behind it. We have it draining energy, draining hunger, regaining energy, regaining hunger, running away, roaming, and then running away, reviving itself when he dies, and regaining health. This logic here is how it's going to rest and for how long. Same thing with eating. How it handles damage, and then we have the detect function here, or state here, has to do with sight. So if he sees something, then that's when this fires off, and then a hit check. At the top in the right, in the left hand corner, if you go up where it says self and you click on that, you'll get all the options that you can change. Some of these you don't want to change, but some of these you could easily adjust for your game, like how far it runs away when it does run away from something. What's the radius when he's walking really slow and sniffing around? What's the radius when he's just roaming around regularly? Things like that. How long he stays dead. You know, you can disable this and trigger your own thing for when he revives or when he respawns or whatever. At the very bottom, we have AI perception on the raccoon, and it only has one sense right now, and that is sight. Sense there, and you can adjust the how far it can see, and then how far it, you know, when it forgets, and what's the peripheral vision of the animal. That's a quick look at the blueprint. But I basically made the blueprint, or I'm giving away a blueprint for the animals just so you can just drag and drop it into your scene or your game or your project, whatever you're working on. But that's a look at the raccoon in Unreal Engine. Have a good one, everyone.